It's on there too. Hello, Katie. How are you today?
I'm well.
Okay, good. I'm glad to hear that. Today's our fifth session meeting together. So we've been talking about anxiety and different ways to lessen your anxiety and increase positivity in your life. So let's kind of talk how you're feeling in the moment right now versus the first session when you came in.
I feel a little bit better. I still have my moments,
Right.
but I feel like that I'm able to take a little bit more control over it all.
Okay, good. That's definitely what we want. Get you moving in that direction that you are in control of your life. So today we are going to use a push button technique. I like this technique because it has two different parts. The first part will kind of allow us to bring certain emotions to the surface. We will push on those emotions, if you will, and kind of bring those to the forefront. That way, you know how you're feeling when certain situations cause your anxiety to go up. Um, the second part of this technique will focus more on the positive. We'll have some positive imagery going on, and that way we can see how our body feels in that moment, and then we'll kind of compare the two. Is that something you think that would be of interest to you?
Yeah, I think that'll be fun.
Okay. So first, we're going to talk about, or just think about for a minute, a situation in your life that causes you high anxiety.
Okay.
Okay, so you got one?
Yes.
What would that be?
It's actually not a situation. It's a person.
Okay.
This person makes me feel extremely uncomfortable. Um, and it's just something that I try to avoid all the time, but it's something that I really can't.
Okay. So this is a person that you can't avoid. So we kind of need to face the situation and deal with our anxiety. Now, when you're around this person, how does your body feel, or how do you begin to act?
Um, every time I'm around this person, I've actually had panic attacks. So it's pretty high.
Yeah.
I'll kind of give you the backstory of
Okay.
this person.
Okay.
We were friends through school and etc. And he was a good person, but he ended up getting into a lot of trouble, resulting in several criminal charges. He ended up
Wow.
serving time in prison. Um, so it had been 3 years since me or any of my friends had seen him, and we were all looking forward to being able to reconnect because we were all such good friends.
Right.
But I guess it was just the thought of all the stuff that he had done, and it just made me really uncomfortable. And I hated to feel that way because we were good friends and we have mutual friends.
Right.
So usually when we have get-togethers, it's he's gonna be there, and I just don't know how to tell my other friends that I'm not comfortable with him being there.
Right. Okay, so I can hear that you guys were good friends throughout school, and then he got into some trouble, and now it makes you uncomfortable to be around him, but you don't want to be the only one feeling this way because you
Yes.
guys do have mutual friends, right?
Yes.
Okay. So have you been around him since he has been out of prison?
Yes. A couple of times actually. It's not ended very well. Um, I'm not really bad until I guess things come into the picture. Um, being friends, you do things that you probably shouldn't all the time,
Right.
and um, it turns into I guess these thoughts, and I just start panicking.
Okay. What kind of thoughts do you have?
Um, Honestly, I don't know. I guess because I'm so out of it at the time, it's just I feel really uncomfortable, and I just want to leave as soon as I can. And it
Okay.
and it has resulted in me having severe attacks to the point that my boyfriend has to help me through my panic attacks, which usually last for about an hour.
Wow. Okay. Well, it's good that you have someone that can help kind of calm you down. How does your body react you have those thoughts, but how's your body acting at the
I
time?
have a tight chest, difficulty breathing, and for some reason I try to tell myself that I'm having a panic attack for me to recognize that, but it's just I can't. I guess I don't want to admit that I have that problem. And it's just it's the biggest problem is the breathing and the heavy chest. I can't get that feeling to go away.
Right. So as our anxiety is going up, it is harder for us to breathe and kind of calm down, obviously. But it's great that you have your boyfriend to help you with maybe breathing exercises, counting to 10, 10 deep breaths in and out. Um, so moving forward, you said that it's going to be hard to avoid this person, so you want to be able to face it. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. So how do you think that in the situation, what could you do in the situation when you're starting to feel the anxiety coming on?
I don't know. I guess not feel the peer pressure to join in on the activities. I guess just kind of be more there and just kind of just talk instead of feeling like that we have to find a common ground in our activities that we engage in when we're hanging out.
Right. So maybe there's a certain activity going on that you don't feel comfortable with. Maybe that could be a time that you could just walk away from the group. Hey, I'm going to the bathroom for a minute. That could give you some time to calm down before the anxiety does peak. That way they can continue their activity and you're not partaking.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that that could be a good idea? Or
that's actually a really good idea. I've not thought about that. I guess just the thought of me walking away, I guess I would have got embarrassed thinking
Right.
that people would judge me and wanting to know why I'm constantly leaving.
Right.
But that makes sense. I would rather do that than actually have to sit down and just tell my other friends that I'm not comfortable being around this person.
Right. Yeah, because obviously with this friend just getting out of prison, you don't want to cause more attention to the situation or whatever. So you could just use the bathroom excuse. And then as time goes on, you may feel more comfortable then, but at least that'll give you a control over your anxiety in the moment.
Yes.
Okay. Well, let's move away from the negative for a minute. Well, before we move on, sorry. Right now, how are you feeling talking about it? Do you kind of feel a little more anxious, or are you okay? Or
I'm actually calmed down a little bit. Just the thought of it was getting me really worked up.
Okay.
I was probably on a scale of a 7 out of 10.
Okay. Good.
Talking about it, so now I feel like I'm more at a 4.
Okay.
Just being able to know that I have alternative methods that I could use.
Good. Good. Okay. So let's move on to the second portion of the technique. Now, this we will be talking about more of a positive image, maybe a milestone in your life, something that makes you feel successful, or just anything that relates to positivity. So take a few minutes and get an idea.
Okay.
Okay. What did you come up with, Katie?
I guess something that makes me feel successful is whenever I was going through grad school, I felt really accomplished. Of course, I would have moments of anxiety because, grad school's not that easy.
Right.
But in the end, it was worth it, obviously. I graduated, so that was a very proud moment. And I mean, I'm even back in school again, getting another degree. So that's a proud moment for me that I'm still continuing my education, doing what I want to do.
Right.
So that's something that makes me really proud and makes me feel successful.
Good. I can something I'm going to note. I can tell a big difference in your body language. When we were talking about the negative, you were more closed off. You weren't really making eye contact. Talking about this positive, you're all smiles. You're more open. So I think that's good. Could tell a difference in your body atmosphere in general. So how are you on that scale you mentioned with the negative? You were at a 7 and you were able to calm down to a 4. How are you feeling right now?
I would say a 1, no anxiety.
Oh, good. Okay. Are there any more situations in your life that you could think of, maybe a positive, that where your
Um,
anxiety levels are low?
just being with my friends, family, just really anything that that makes me happy. Um, there's I feel like there's very little things that make me anxious to the point of having a panic attack. But I do have my moments, of course. But just there's a lot of things that make me happy.
Okay, good. So that is definitely a positive, and something that we could gain from this exercise is ultimately, we are in control of our emotions. Um, Whenever we're able to think about the positives, our anxiety is at a low level. Whenever we're around negative situations or negative people or things, our anxiety goes up.
Mhm.
Could you tell a difference between the two situations and how you feel?
Oh, absolutely. Um, I guess just being able to talk about the happy things, if I feel like a weight's been lifted off of me.
Right.
Just thinking of the other situation just makes me feel that pressure on my chest. Just makes me feel really uncomfortable.
Okay. So moving forward, when you're in that negative situation, we did talk about, hey, I need to go to the bathroom. That way you can get a hold of your anxiety and kind of count yourself down before you get to that peak. But maybe a way of facing that, um, we could think of more positive situations or bring up positive conversation amongst your friends in when you're in that uncomfortable situation. Is that something that you would feel okay doing with your friends or?
I think so. I think I would rather do that than, like I said before, actually addressing my comfort level around this person.
Right.
Because, it does make me feel bad because we were good friends. I don't really want to be that person.
Right.
But you saying that makes me think I've not really had a conversation with this person since everything has happened. It's just been more of an interaction. It's like a hey, how are you doing versus actually sitting down and catching up.
Right.
And I think that could be a big part of it is not being open with this person as we were before.
Right.
So maybe if I just even sat down and talked to them, that could make a big difference.
Yeah, I definitely think that's a good idea. Having that conversation with a person. I mean, they've been out of the group for 3 years. You've been out of contact with them for 3 years. So if we kind of put ourselves in their situation, they may feel just as uncomfortable as you do, trying to rekindle the friendship there. So that may be a good idea. And maybe that's something that you could bring all of your friends in on that one conversation.
Yeah.
Okay. So for next week, I'm going to give you some homework.
Okay.
I want you to, over the next week, are you going to have any interactions with this person, do you think?
Yes, I usually do at least once a week.
Okay. So between now and the meeting with this person, I'm going to challenge you to make a list. You could do it in your phone, on a notebook, whatever you carry with you, of positive things that cause your anxiety to be at a 1. We want you to be at that 1, maybe even a 2. So that way, when you are around this person, you could just quickly pull up your phone and have those there to kind of help calm you down. So, other than going through grad school, what are some things do you think you could add to that list of success?
Well, I'm an aunt to nieces and nephews, so I mean, that is one of my proudest things is having my little nieces and nephews in my life. I try to be around them weekly, so that's I guess that would be the next big thing that I could put on my list is just thinking about that. Um, my dog makes me happy, I guess. And I mean, I guess I could just think about all of my experiences with my other friends and family, and just yeah, those make me happy and stuff that make me feel proud.
Okay, that's definitely a good idea. jot those down on your notepad or on your phone. And that way, when you're in that stressful situation, again, this will give you control over the situation. And before that anxiety goes up to the peak, you'll be able to reel it back in with your list of positives. Okay? So next week, we're going to meet on the same day. Does that work for you?
Yes, that's perfectly fine.
Okay. Well, I will see you then. Thank you.
Thank you.
One thing that I would like to touch on before you go is definitely the scaling. We had talked about doing the notepad in your phone of the positives when you can focus on those when you're in those negative situations. It's important to keep that scale in mind, a scale, your anxiety scale 1 to 10. So you had mentioned friends, family, pets, nieces, and nephews has you at a 1. So what are some techniques or that you could practice, in the situation rather than avoiding and going to the bathroom as we discussed? Maybe counting to 10, that's something that you could do in your mind so your peers don't really know that you're calming yourself down because you said you didn't want to draw more attention to yourself or anything like that. So counting to 10, taking those deep breaths. Could you think of anything else that you could do?
I mean, so far when I'm in the situation, I'm just straight up avoiding it. I kind of just abruptly leave, which then leaves everybody asking 100 questions. Are you okay? All this stuff. So then that makes me feel even more comfortable. But I really want to find something that can help me with the breathing. I have tried the deep breathing before. I don't feel like it's that effective for me. I could be doing it completely wrong. I don't know. But it is the heavy chest and the breathing that gets me freaked out the most.
Right.
So I really want to focus more on that and then maybe get to something else. But, like I said, I didn't feel like the deep breathing was really making a difference for me.
Okay. So now when you're doing the deep breathing, are you still focusing on the situation or are you attempting to tune everything out and focus solely on your breathing?
I guess I'm attempting to tune everything out to a point. But like I said, where I leave so abruptly, of course, and that's just more thoughts running through my head. People are asking me, why are you leaving? What's going on? I'm just going to leave without talking to anybody. So I guess really just maybe focus more on finding ways to, I guess, avoid the situation without being so
noticeable.
Yes.
Right. Okay. So when you're doing the deep breathing and with the heavy chest, and maybe putting some pressure on your chest, just simply with your hand. Mm-hmm. This isn't anything that's that obvious. They're not going to know what you're doing. And just attempting to block everything out and just focus on pulling in and pulling out with your breath. That definitely does help if you're able to tune everything out, which is easier said than done. But the more you practice it, the more effective it will be. But definitely try putting the pressure on that chest. And if that doesn't work for you, then we could find another technique.
Well, I actually just bought a weighted blanket for myself. But I guess I don't want to just carry around a blanket everywhere I go. But I honestly might consider doing that, just having it on hand, because it does help me, especially at night and stuff. So I might, when you mentioned putting my hand on my chest, I might actually just consider taking that with me. And if I feel anxious, just be like, oh, I'm cold.
Right.
And put the blanket on. So.
Yeah, that's definitely a good idea. I know that they also do make the weighted lap. It's like a weighted lap belt, which is basically just like a little thing that goes over your lap so you don't have to lug around the blanket. But definitely if you guys are out at a cookout or sitting by the fire, that would be a good idea to have with you. Because that pressure does help soothe and calm you down. So I'm glad that you are taking advantage of that and utilizing that blanket.
Yeah.
Okay, so keep that scale in mind. I'm challenging you to write down at least 5 things on your notepad of positive images that you can focus on, and you can be in control. You can be in control of your emotions. Okay?
Okay,
Is that something you can do for me this week?
that sounds great.
Okay, then we will meet back next week to talk about your encounters.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.